Welcome, everybody. This is your host, Dimple Bindra. And today on our podcast, Supercharge Your Soul, we have an amazing guest. Her name is Catherine Kontos.
Hi, Dimple. Thank you for having me here.
Hi, Catherine. It is so good to see you. And I just want to tell our audience that what amazing work that you have done so far in the past. So, Catherine Kontos, for those of you that do not know, she is an inspirational speaker and an empowerment mentor in personal, professional transformation, as well as she is a TEDx speaker, a published author, and a writer, and a podcast host. Wow. And she's also the founder of Retreat Boss, a global company which serves offsite events, retreats, and retreat leaders. And Catherine also has come out with a new book. Her book's name is called Soul Shaker that you can totally get on Amazon. Catherine, it is so good to have you on our show. Please tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Look, I don't know where to start my journey. I lived the first many years of my life kind of like going with the grid. And then about 11 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 3. And actually, it was a very, very aggressive form of cancer that was diagnosed because there's different types. And I was in the midst of actually building and launching a new business. It was an inn that I had launched into transforming into a retreat space for addictions.
Wow.
And as soon as I opened it, I had to shut down because I was diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole world started collapsing around me. I had to fight cancer. I had a divorce that I had to go throughout my journey during treatments. And I became a single mom overnight to a 10-year-old girl. It was a very, very, very difficult time. But what happened at the same time was this incredible transformation where I did not let that break me. If anything, I became even more powerful with my mind to fight this. So I'll backtrack a bit about how that started and how I became so powerful with my mind to be able to beat cancer, which, by the way, I'm 10 years cancer-free today.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. So Catherine, you have a story that our audience is actually listening to right now. Imagine so many women out in the world that are suffering with breast cancer or any form of cancer in the body. And you're basically telling them that today you're cancer-free.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 10 years that you have been cancer-free. So yes, we would love to know. Go ahead, tell us, backtrack the story. When did you even find out about your cancer?
Right. So this is about mindset. Okay. And what I say, and I said it in my TEDx talk, is the mind is extremely powerful, not only for disease, but for the entire course of your life. It's really most of the battle, if you think about it. No pun intended, right? Mm-hmm. So actually, pun intended. So what happened to me was right before when I had launched that business, I had launched several businesses. I was into real estate. I was an investor. I had launched several types of businesses by that time. And this was something where I wanted to kind of combine my psychology degree, my marketing, my creativity, all of that, my business and my real estate. So I bought this in and transformed it, like I said, into a retreat center. And while I was going through that, I was working like 90 hours a week. I would wake up with my laptop next to me, go to sleep with my laptop next to me. I would get home late. I was working 7 days a week trying to launch this thing. And things weren't going well with my partners literally from the get-go. It's like as soon as we signed the papers, everything kind of just went to heck. So it was all falling on me. And my marriage was falling apart too at the same time. And out of a desperate moment in time, I just broke down. I was crying and I was like, please, God, just take my life away. Take my life away. And I was just begging for this. 2 days later, I wake up with symptoms.
Oh my goodness.
I'm getting numb. I'm getting twitches on my face, on my body. I was just shocked. And I'm like, God, I was just kidding. It was a bad night. Don't do this to me, right? So I got really scared. I called my neurologist. He goes to me, don't worry about it. You're going to be okay. He gave me some medication to like calm myself, but I didn't even take it. I go to him, I'm just going to book a flight and I'm going to leave. So I literally booked a flight for the next day, took my daughter and went to Mexico for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't even finished packing by the, like it was already booked, so still
Oh.
left.
Mhm.
Didn't know what I had. I just knew I didn't really feel well. I was very pale and skinny and all of that stuff. But I didn't think cancer. I just thought I'm having some kind of nervous breakdown here,
So was your husband still with you at that
At
time?
this time, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it. Mhm.
So went away, came back, fast forward a couple of months later, I'm diagnosed with a cancer.
Wow.
So I'm like, and I didn't really know much. Like I was okay during the summer. I didn't have any of those symptoms anymore. I was okay. So I was in a bit of shock. And I realized, after the crying and all of that stuff, I'm like, what I gave this to myself. I asked for it. And God gave it to me. And I was really upset about it. But then I realized, you know what? If I could give that to myself, then maybe I could take it away.
Absolutely, you can. The power of the mind. Absolutely.
So that powerful mindset was so strong that it literally helped me through everything I was about to go through. And I went through hell and back. But one good thing I did during that time was, because I had this building that was burning money every month because the business was no longer there. I went on my laptop in between surgeries and treatments and chemos and all of that, and I started a new business. And that business was so successful that after a couple of years, it won an award. Then it went on to build a sister business because it was doing so well. My competitors were coming to me and asking me, how are you always sold out? So I opened up a reservation program, started renting and managing their properties for them. And 10 years later, post-pandemic, I had to shut down, by the way, during the pandemic. So 2 shutdowns for me, right?
Oh
That
my
same
goodness.
business is still running and running really strong. So we're launching all kinds of new programs now and stuff like that. So it's just, my message here is, and I'll continue with my story after. My message is here, just even at your darkest times, trust me, it hurts. I know sometimes you want to end it all. Sometimes you just don't see how you could get past the darkness. It's just a phase, a moment in time that will pass. You just keep your head strong. You persevere. You continue with whatever your goal is in your heart and in your soul, and it will come to you. Just keep at it and keep yourself strong and powerful, and any energy that's negative around you, stay away from it and stay focused on your journey, whatever it may be.
Wow, ladies, are you listening? Are you listening to the story from a woman who is cancer-free 10 years later? She was still building a business. She got an award for her business. She's now a TEDx speaker. So there is hope, right, Catherine?
There's definitely hope. There's
Okay.
definitely hope.
So I really want you to tell them, during the darkest times that you were facing, during the time that you were probably going to the doctors, or maybe you were going for your chemotherapy, or whatever you went and did medically, what worked for you and what did not work for you?
So I did the treatments, the chemotherapy and the radiation. I had a cocktail of drugs to take. And what the other things I did was I meditated and I visualized a lot. This was something I did religiously. I would wake up and I would go to sleep meditating. I would do some meditation visualization during the day. And I would visualize, just my body, my cells, just killing the cancer. And just a funny story, whenever I would go for chemotherapy became my best friend. I hated it at the beginning. I was scared of it. It did almost, kill me because I had some of these crazy, crazy side effects. But what I said is I have to become friends with it because that's what's going to help me kill the cancer. So I would get the chemotherapy. And then after the chemotherapy, you have to go to the washroom to let go of all the chemicals and stuff.
Yes.
So during the chemotherapy, I'd close my eyes and I would picture like a battle happening in my body and this light coming through me and that the chemo just killing all the bad cells in my body. So I'd go to the bathroom and I'd do my business and then I'd just flush the toilet and I'd be like, bye.
That's so, it's such a cool story because imagine, right? If you can literally do the visualizations in the moment as you're trying to heal, basically you're putting in a medical drug in your body, and then you're also doing your visualizations with chemotherapy.
Yes.
So for you, it worked.
It worked. It worked. But I got to tell you, there was a third component to it that
Yes.
people don't realize. You have to have some kind of spiritual belief and faith in that. You
Nice.
have to believe it at your core, and that there is something bigger than us that is helping us, that is guiding us. Whether for me, it's God, for other people, it could be the universe or whatever else they believe in. But I really, really believed strongly that I was going to be okay. And through these visualizations and meditations and prayer, it just helped me have faith. It convinced my body that I was well, because there was no doubt in my mind. I wasn't convincing myself. There was no doubt in my mind I would be better.
Wow.
And that was the difference. I believed it to my core. I visualized writing a book, which I did. I visualized speaking in front of crowds, which I did. I promised, by the way, that if everything, if I was well, I promised that I would spread the word of my healing and transformation. Hence the business I'm in. My business is Retreat Boss. It helps transform people, right? So you go to these retreats and you get transformed. So literally my purpose every day is to help transform people, because it's up to them, but we're just the guides to do it, right? We help you. That was my purpose, and I've lived my purpose. I've written my book. I've spoken on stages. My business is all that. So day in, day out, that's my promise, and I'm fulfilling it every single day that I'm alive.
That is amazing, Catherine. And thank you for telling us, your road of journey where you were battling with these thoughts, but you still had an amazing visualization and a future that you created in that moment, even though it didn't happen for you at that time, but you kept on creating this future. And I actually wanted to share this, but my dad also passed away 2 years ago.
Sorry.
He battled with cancer himself. And something that I would tell my dad when he was going through chemo was, Dad, how do you feel? Do you feel like, you and I and all of us can go to Europe together? Because I wanted him to see his future with us traveling and on vacation. And some days he'll be like, yeah, we'll go. And some days he'll be like, no, Dimple, I don't think I can do this.
Right.
And I kept on telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, listen, you gotta think right. You need to speak what you want. You have to visualize it. But I wish I was able to communicate to him what you're saying, that just by you visualizing it and really having this beautiful future self of yours in present time can bring you to your current state of reality, which is now you're showing other women that they can also be cancer free.
Yeah. And there's this belief. It's the belief that you have to have. It's very hard. You can't convince somebody to believe that they're going to be fine.
Exactly.
They have to believe it. And because of what happened to me initially, of like wanting my life to go, God gave me what I wanted. Every part of my life fell apart. I literally was reborn into this new person after the cancer. There's nothing that was the same anymore. So I got what I wanted. And one day during like a very deep moment of prayer, and I went into meditation, because prayer and meditation is the same thing, right? Except prayer is like, whatever. I find it's the same thing. Sometimes you have nothing in your mind. Other times you're praying, and that creates a meditation. And during that meditation, all of a sudden, I just felt so light and like free of time. And I don't know how much time passed, honestly. I just felt like this energy come inside me. And I stayed there for I don't know how long. And I was very, very, very ill. I had developed blood clots. I had kidney stone in my kidney, and it was very big. I had 0.03 white blood cells, which is nothing. Like a normal person with bacteria, we all have bacteria, should have at least a fever. And in this case, I should have died, but I didn't. And right after this happened to me, during chemotherapy, I started growing hair, which is unheard of. My doctor, I went and I'm like, is this normal? And he's like, no. Do you have any other side effects? Like literally everything changed from almost like they literally told me, we don't know how you did it. Like, we thought we were going to lose you. This is after all the treatments were done. And I'm like, I know. They're like, we don't know what happened. I'm like, I know. But I didn't know how to explain it at the time.
I have a question on that. I'm so sorry. But my question is not trying to interrupt you, but trying to like make the audience understand that you felt this energy that came within you during that time when you were super ill.
Right.
What do you think in your sense? What was that energy? Because
God.
Exactly.
For me, it was God. Because I felt a light go literally through me and through my head, which was always my visualization. And during my meditations, I would be like, please, God, let me be well. Let me be well. Let me be well. Let me be well. I kept saying it and saying it and saying it for months, right? Like up until that moment. And in that moment, you know, I've spoken to scientists. They said you entered the quantum consciousness. You know, that's the scientific thing, you know. And for me, it was, you know, whatever they want to explain it as, that's great. But for me, it was, you know, I felt God at that moment, and something just changed. Something just changed. And all of a sudden, from being like, with all these things, my bloods, my this, my that, everything being like just really critical, to I'm growing hair back. I have more energy than anybody here. You know, like I was just jumping away. Like I did not look sick, to the point that I even created a reunion for an elementary school, like from my elementary school. Like for me, you know, like after, I don't know, I think we were at 30 years at that time, or 28 years. And they had never seen me. They didn't know I had cancer, because I was kind of like a closet case cancer, cancer survivor, or not surviving at that time, but yeah. And I booked it so we could reunite like 2 or 3 weeks after my last treatment. They were clueless. They had no idea. To this day, they're like, you did not look sick. I was just dancing and singing and having drinks, and not a problem.
Exactly.
They had no idea. They had no idea.
That is so cool, because you're basically saying, you know, things that I've been trying to teach for years and years, that you can absolutely cure and heal any disease in the body through either meditation and a spiritual practice, and through prayer. Because when we are meditating, we are hearing from God. And when we are praying, we are speaking to God. So meditation is like God speaking to us. And prayer, to me, is like I am speaking to God. So there is this two-way channel going on. And that's why prayer and meditation are so important. And what I feel, Catherine, that happened, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is yes, you're feeling that light within God, but then your state of energy was literally in a very, you know, like scientists say it's called quantum physics, okay? But I think it was an also altered state of consciousness, because you were literally in a very relaxed state where you're actually connected to the other energies out there that you cannot see or touch, but they can enter your body and heal you, right?
Yeah. If you, when I spoke to the quantum scientist, he told me you reprogrammed your body at that point to heal you instead of hurt you. And I'm like, awesome. I have the scientific approach to it. And there's actual research, proven research, peer-reviewed research. It's not just me saying it, or some researcher who never proved his research with another researcher. This is peer-reviewed research that shows that these types, like prayer and like all these things that I've mentioned here, can actually do what happened to me. And it's important that people know that they have that power. It's important that they know they have that. The only thing, like I told you, is the difference is they've got to believe in their core. Like, there was no way I wasn't going to beat this. I knew I was going to be well. I visualized myself. I used to have tears and laughter when I was visualizing myself in the future, because I believed it so much. And that made the difference between me and maybe somebody else that is trying to visualize, but is not getting there. It's really important to have that spiritual belief and that core belief that you're going to be okay.
Exactly. So, question, how do you think when it comes to somebody else who's going through this chronic illness, and the doctors will tell them that, oh, they only have a year to live. And when they hear that news, what do you think is the first step that they should absolutely do when they get that news? Because here is what I come across. I come across clients that get chronically ill. Now they're super negative, right? They're negative in their thoughts, they're negative in their beliefs. They start thinking about dying. And you're saying, hey, change up your beliefs and work on visualization, work on seeing your future self. You're saying, work on a meditation practice. You're also saying, you gotta absolutely pray. You gotta pray because then you are in a different state of being versus always thinking negative consciously and attracting the stuff that they don't even want, which is death in the first place. So, anything else you think they should do,
Yeah.
in your opinion?
Yeah, eliminate all distractors and any negative energy. I stopped watching TV unless it was a comedy.
Nice.
Any negative energy around me. So people, it doesn't matter how close they are to you, you need to protect your space and your mind because you are zoned in like that football player that's about to score, right? You're completely zoned in on your health. This is life or death situation. There's no kidding around. There's no playing around. It's you against you, literally. Because when the doors close, everybody leaves. There's nobody that could help that person except for that person themselves. And if their state of mind is in a negative state because their husband just screamed at them, or because somebody, one of the reasons why I wasn't telling people was because their reaction was affecting me.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, I'm not going to say anything. I need to protect myself. Like I'm helping them out while they should be helping me out because their reaction is so hyper negative. And I used to say, I'm not going to die. That would be, why are you crying? I'm not going to die. It's fine. I'm going to get treatment. I'll be fine.
Wow. So you're also incorporating the fourth step, which is the power of the spoken word. You are speaking what you truly want for yourself right in that moment so that God is actually helping you. So you're saying, I am not gonna die. So I am itself is a very strong statement, and you're doing that. That's amazing, Catherine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us about your journey. I need to know, why did you write the book? Soul Shaker, guys. I want everyone to go on to Amazon.com and then check out her book. And I'm personally going to also order her book because I want to read it. And I love the cover of her book. It's beautiful. Catherine is right on the cover. So tell me, why did you get the inspiration that I need to write this book?
It was part of my promise also, because I said I would spread the word of what happened to me to help others. And it was a very difficult book to write because I had to revisit everything. Like I meditate to go back and feel everything that I felt and to write it out. And this book is about hope and about being able to survive anything in your life. Like I said, everything just fell around me, my marriage, my business, everything. And I was dealing with my health and dealing with a 10-year-old child that was so scared that she was going to lose her mommy. So it was a lot. And I still figured out how to persevere, start a business, be a single mom and do what I needed to do for her. And then launch. It was a launching pad instead of a coffin that I went to. That's the difference. Because of my mindset, I made it into a launching pad filled with hope. And one by one, I continued to persevere and I completed it. And that's what you need to do, is stay hyper focused on what your purpose is and live passionately. Live like it is you're the last day of your life. That way, you know you're fulfilling your purpose every single day.
Exactly. Because today is a gift from God that people don't understand. It's a present for a reason. It's the present moment. And that's what, Catherine, you have been doing. And I am actually so honored that I got to even speak to you on this topic that was so dear to you, which actually, as you were talking, I was getting chills because it's like, I have been teaching this for so long, but you are living proof for a person who went into darkness and now she's just shining her light.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
And one last question, Catherine, before you go. What are your goals for the future? What are you going to focus on?
Oh, I don't know if I could even say them because they're actually happening, but it's really living about with my passions and fulfilling my dreams, really, and some of it is more like companies and stuff like that, but they're all soul driven. So there's a lot of projects coming into place and they're coming to me. I don't even have to look for them. They're coming to me. And I'm hoping to speak on more stages and be with more groups where I can help them transform. I just want people to hear what I have to say, because I think it will really help many, many people to transform their lives and maybe change their mindset a little bit and give them that hope. If there's one sentence that could have helped them in this podcast right now, then I've done my job today. And tomorrow's a new day. And hopefully there will be another sentence that I can say that'll change maybe somebody else's life and perspective. It's all about your perspective. So these are my goals. Really, it's just to live through my purpose.
Thank you, Catherine. So I'm going to recap exactly what Catherine said. Catherine is encouraging each one of you to go ahead and meditate, to start a practice of prayer, to absolutely have a spiritual belief, especially if you're dealing with any sort of chronic illness. And lastly, the power of the spoken word. Don't speak what you do not want, and speak what you want. Catherine, it was a pleasure to speak to you. Where can people contact you for more information, to get in touch with you?
Sure, they can reach out to catherinekontos.com. That is my website. They can contact me through there, or they could follow me anywhere on social media. It's Catherine Kontos. It's Catherine with a C, Kontos with a K.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine. I will see you next time.
Thank you.
So in the end, what you have learned from a person who is cancer-free already from last 10 years is that prayer, meditation, the power of your own spoken word and your own spiritual belief system is going to work if you want to heal from any disease. So where do you start? You absolutely need to start from within. And if you feel that you are suffering from any chronic illness, get in touch with me, and I will be happy to schedule a call with you to see where does this conversation go. So until next time, see you in the next podcast. Till then, please follow us on all social media channels, and do not forget the mantra, which is metamorphosis, not medication. Bye.